This is my new production tool, specifically the Edelkrone HeadPLUS and the SliderPLUS Pro Long. Great name, I know, but it is next level stuff, allowing me to control my camera's pan, tilt, and slider motion by motors, which is absolutely insane, offers incredible quality, and I'm hoping will allow me to make these videos sort of next level of production quality, along with obviously trying to improve the immediate content. So let's take a look at what I spent utterly far too much money on and see what you think. Let me start by explaining the HeadPLUS. This can be used as a standalone device and essentially is a motorized, effectively camera tripod head. What it does is let you control both the pan and the tilt of your camera through either their app or their hardware controller, which is an extra like 90 quid. Either way, it is incredibly precision, it is incredibly quiet, you basically don't hear it, and you can use the app to control it in different keyframes and sequences, so you can have it, say, quickly move to one position and then a slow pan and then whip off again. You can do all of that through the app and without having to touch the camera. For my normal tripod move that I do with my fluid head, which is a slow pan across an object, well, that's going to be a lot smoother and a lot more consistent thanks to this. It will mean that I can set a keyframe of the product on one side of the frame and then set the keyframe on the other side, press a button and have it do it automatically so that it's nice and smooth and repeatable. So if I want to be doing something while I'm recording, I can just press a button, have it move the camera for me, and then I get a very nice shot. And then there is the slider. This is the SliderPLUS Pro Long, which is essentially their highest end slider they offer. It is the one that can carry the biggest payload and is also the longest. So with it on a table like this using the built-in feet, you get 40 centimeters of travel. But if you stick it on a tripod, well, that's where it gets really interesting, because then you get 80 centimeters of travel. Yeah, it's really cool. The whole rail slides along with it so that you get literally double the travel distance, which is just insane. You can then add the slide module onto it, which lets you effectively add motorized control to an otherwise standard slider. One of the really nice things is that the motorized belt actually comes with a slider in the box anyway, regardless of if you buy the slide module, so you can buy that later and you already have all of the parts you need to make it all work. Now, the slide module acts, like I said, as a motor so that you can then control the motion of the slider through the same app, and you can control it as a paired group when you pair it with the HeadPLUS so that you can do some incredible shots with it. If you want to have the camera off a frame and then slide in while tilting and panning into place and then slide out again the other way, yep, that's perfectly possible. If you want to have it slide in and panning down like I've done on a few shots recently, again, that's possible. And even if you just want to use it for time lapses where you have a slow pan across a landscape, or in my case, more likely a car, that is also possible too. Via the app, like I said, you can keyframe up to 6 positions, so you can have it either just manually run through those by pressing the keyframes once you have it set, or you can use the sequencer option to tell it to go to those different keyframes at different intervals, different speeds, all that sort of stuff. There is one item that I didn't pick up with this bundle, which is the focus control module. This looks like a very interesting addition and something that I'll probably pick up at some points, which essentially means you can have the motorized systems also control the focus on your camera, which means you can then do extra things like manually set the focus for each of the positions that you want your camera to be in, so that you don't have to rely on your camera's autofocus to make that happen. Now, for using the bits that I do have, using their app is pretty simple. You open it up and press Smart Pairing, make sure that the devices are turned on. In the HeadPLUS case, that's just connect the batteries, but in the Slide module's case, that's connect the batteries, then hold the power button down to turn it on, and then it will find, or it will create a paired group of your devices, and then you can use the dials at the top that are sort of digital joysticks to slide around. You can use the pan and tilt buttons to lock each of the directions so it's easier for you to fine-tune control. Then to set a keyframe, you just hold down one of those buttons and then it sets that keyframe. You can then move it to the second position you want, hold that keyframe. Then when you press the first one, it will move to that first keyframe with the speed and acceleration settings that you have set down the bottom. It'll even give you a little timer to tell you how long that move will take. If you want it to quickly move between positions just to check things like focus in those new keyframes, you can double tap on them and it will move relatively quickly to that frame. You can also delete the keyframes by pressing the X, although you do then have to press it again or press the whole thing again to then have it confirm that you want to cancel. And I should mention that you can't change the speed on the fly, like while it's already in a move. You have to set the speed and ramp before you do the press the keyframe to have it move, and then that will work. Now, if you'd rather use a physical controller rather than the app, well, you can pick up their controller separately. Like I said, it is an added purchase, but damn, it feels quality, so I'm not too mad about it. Now, the controller works in much the same way as the app does, just with some physical, rather nice clicky buttons. And that's kind of it. You have up to 3 key poses that you can set rather than the 6 you get on the app. And you can either have it pair the existing group with the app and you can actually use it at the same time, or you can have it set up yourself and use this to pair and group devices. Either way, you can then use it to control both the slider and the head as much as you like, change your acceleration and speed settings. Again, everything you can do on the app minus those extra key pose buttons. It's not all perfect though. The app can be pretty janky sometimes. Specifically, if you leave the app or even turn off your screen, you have to repair the devices. Now that's not a big deal, especially with the smart pairing option. You just press smart pairing, it will reconnect and it's all good. But having to do that every single time your phone screen accidentally turns off or you need to answer a message or an email can be a little frustrating, and it would be nice for that to hold while you're switching apps. Also, if you do want to pair the controller, well, like I said, you can use both the controller and the app at the same time. You need to make sure that none of your devices are in motion while you try and pair the controller. It seems to be locked out, which I guess makes sense, but either way, I had some difficulty getting the controller to pair with the existing group, and even if I disconnected the app, sometimes it would still refuse to connect in the controller. So again, the pairing process in general can be a bit finicky. Also with the controller, especially if you already have a paired group through the app, when you go to join a paired group session, it only says the first device that's in your group on the list, so it can be very hard to know if you're actually joining the paired group to control all of your devices, or if you're just controlling, in my case, just the HeadPLUS. And so that can be a little difficult. You have to press the center button to switch to the second device, and then you'll find out if you've paired correctly. On the app, well, like I said, it does have a little timer to tell you how long that camera move will take, which is really useful. It only tells you that once it's started moving. So because you can't change the speed settings while it's moving, you have to pick a speed setting and a ramp setting, start it moving, work out if the timing is going to be right, then cancel that move, have it move back to its first key pose or first position, then change the slider again and have it run again. I would really like to see the timer available basically full time, so that you could be changing the slider and it will tell you how long those camera moves will take before you have to actually make it move. And I would also love to see a way to expand those digital joysticks at the top for more fine control. I found that because it's so small and there's a bit of a sort of dead zone in the center, it's very hard to move it very slightly without just dragging it and dropping it very quickly to just adjust it slightly. It's not so big a deal because you can move the head with pretty much no problems physically and just position it where you want and then key pose it from there, but it would be nice to have that sort of fine control in the app as well. On the note of battery life, it's pretty exceptional when in use. I was able to, just with the 2 battery packs that you get or you can purchase with the kits, the MPF mount specifically, this was able to last pretty much 2 straight weeks of filming, at least once a day, with pretty much no problems. Didn't even have to think about charging them. And because, like I said, it's just MPF batteries, you can get the bigger ones, and even you can just buy multiple sets and keep those charged and sort of on rotation if you're filming a lot more with this, so very handy. The downside though is that, especially for the HeadPLUS, this doesn't have a power button. You can't turn this off. You basically have to disconnect the power every time you stop using it. The reason I know that is because I accidentally left the power in overnight. When I came to film the next day, the batteries were fully dead. The slide module doesn't have that problem. There is a power button on it, and so you can leave the power connected if you want to. Although my general habit when filming is to unplug both of them when I'm done filming and then plug them back in when I want to start up again. Just alleviates any potential issues. Now, all in, this will set you back a pretty penny. I paid before import charges, thank you Brexit, about £2,500, a little bit less for everything you see here, the link cable, all that sort of stuff. And that's obviously not cheap, but also in the camera world, it's actually not too bad. Considering that a solid tripod and fluid head can easily be £700, £800, £900, £1,000 even, a couple of £1,000 if you want to go proper videographer grade type stuff. £2,000 on a motorized slider and head, and the fact that this can carry a pretty massive payload, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's not cheap, but I'm very glad to have it in my production equipment toolbox. They do also offer a couple of other cool bits. The one that I'm probably most interested in is their jib. It's also motorized and lets you get some really cool crane shots. So instead of using the slider on your tripod, you would use the jib, put the HeadPLUS on the head of that, and then you can get some really cool sort of craning shots over stuff. Very cool. I'll probably pick that one up at some point too, but yeah, very cool stuff. And the fact that it all works together so easily is definitely a big bonus. Overall, I am really happy with my purchase. I'm hoping that these will allow me to sort of get the production quality to the next level, and of course let me do some projects and videos that I wouldn't necessarily otherwise be able to do, and hopefully make the videos just more enjoyable for you guys to watch. Of course, I would love to hear what you think of the Edelkrone kit in the comments down below. Do you think this is a wise purchasing decision? And otherwise, feel free to let me know what you think of them, especially if you are videographers or even photographers. If you want to use them for time-lapse shots, then feel free to let me know what you think of the kit in the comments down below as well. Now, if you're interested in the Edelkrone bits, I will leave links to them in the description down below, though that would just be to Edelkrone's website, so no affiliate link there. But there will also be other links in the description if you want to support my amazing buying habits, including stuff like Patreon for access to our Money in the Discord chat, sponsor-free videos, and of course, you support me directly as well. There's also merch or hoodies or t-shirts like this one, or a load of other cool stuff that I designed myself. This one was in Blender, it's the Particles tee. Love it. And there's a load of other links in the description you can check out. I'll leave those for you to take a look at. Of course, plenty of other videos on the end cards. Maybe take a look at my GH5 review, since that's the camera that I'm filming on and that I use with this as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next video.